We're live at Improve Canada. Welcome back to another Homes on Homes podcast. Today is going to be exciting. You know, I always talk about your home, my home, everyone's home. But I want to talk about what else is in our home, and that's animals. Your dogs, your cats. You're going to be excited about this because it isn't just about dogs and cats. It's going to relate to your house and everything you need to know, especially if you have an animal, on how and what you can do with possible problems. I have with me today Dino Fragaglia. He's the president of Global Pet Foods and a really big company. He knows what he's doing. He knows how to make the food right for our cats and dogs. Doug Poyntz, operation manager, Global Pet Foods in Woodstock. I've known Doug for many, many years. He lived beside me, 22, 23 years ago.
Just about that, yeah.
And I brought in my own doctor, Evan Freeman, or my dog, Charlie's. He's the veterinarian at Georgetown Animal Clinic. Great guy, and he's known my dog Charlie for ever since Charlie was a puppy. Unfortunately, Charlie's not here anymore, and this, to me, this is a subject about that, something I wanted to know. So, Doug, I want to start with you. This was Doug's idea. He called me about, 3 months ago. Hey, I want to do a podcast about everyone walking into my store, because what's the number one thing they ask, Doug?
Well, the number one thing that we get asked at our place is allergies. What can I do? My dog's eating or isn't eating properly. He's scratching.
You knew my dog too.
Yes, Charlie, yes.
Charlie died, he was about 13 and a half years old, and that would be 3 years ago, and all of a sudden this cat came out of nowhere. Meow Meow's the name of the cat, and now lives in my house. That's another story, which I'm going to get into because I'm allergic to the cat. Who would have thought? I wasn't allergic to Charlie, but maybe I was. So this is really about allergies. What causes them? Is it food? Is it environmental? Is it the home? What's in the house? And we're going to cover all of this. So Charlie, he started probably around 2 years old. I'm going to, if I remember.
That sounds familiar.
And he started getting like areas of hair falling off his body. He was itching like crazy. Anna, she brought him right to you.
Yep.
And what caused it? So when this first started, we didn't really know. It's almost like you have to search and play.
Yep.
Your first advice was?
Switch his food.
Switch his food.
Yep. Always it's the easiest, Mike. Like, rather than putting them on medication, if you can find a food that works to manage his symptoms, then that's a hell of a lot easier and a hell of a lot better for the dog.
I know, but I didn't understand it because at the time, Anna, she's Italian. One day I come home and there's a pork loin roast on the counter. I'm like, yes, we're having pork loin roast. No, that's Charlie's. She's cooking for the dog. You recommended to feed Charlie pork. Mm-hmm. Why?
Well, I mean, from the studies have shown that the big two food allergens in dogs, chicken and beef. And so what's the furthest? So the furthest away from chicken and beef, I would say, is salmon or a fish-based diet. But I also pork is considered a hypoallergenic food for dogs.
Anna would feed Charlie dry food because that way if he wanted some food, it was always there, so he could eat the dry food. And then his special food she would mix with gravy and with beef or chicken or leftovers. But it got to the point where Charlie was getting so bad that she was now on a hell bent on trying to figure out what was wrong with Charlie. I mean, he's the smartest dog I've ever had. You had to spell around him, you know. You want to go for a drive? Oh, don't even use the words drive because he's going in the car. So she would mix, he had the dry food, we'd eat the dry food, it was there when he wanted it, and if, dinner time, it mixed chicken, anything, we had steak, he was spoiled, he had everything. But she became hell-bent on trying to figure out what was causing these allergies, because it was painful to him, it got bad.
Yep.
Now, when I was a kid, I've had a lot of dogs in my life. I'm turning 60 this year, I'm going on 40, but I'm turning 60 this year. I know. I try to work on that. I usually used to say 30 times 2, but I didn't want to go there. When I was a kid, I didn't see allergies in animals. And, the more I thought about it, all my dogs didn't have allergies. I didn't know neighbors, dogs or cats that didn't have allergies. And I'm going to assume there were allergies. But I also believe that over the years, dogs and cats became more and more allergic to everything. my world, where I come from, I know about stormwater management control. I know about what's happening with farm. When did the government stop pesticides? I think it was 10 years ago? It was about 10 years ago. Not allowed to use it anymore. We should have done it years ago because this really affected our lakes, our ponds. Pesticides were responsible for so much damage.
But they still put them out for bees though, don't they, Mike?
I'm sure it's more friendly, and I'm sure you could still buy things for plum trees. And, you know, because we want to keep the bugs off them, but they're more supposedly more gentle. Was this a possible problem over the years of using, and this is just one of them, was it a possible problem that from my dog rolling in the grass, from pesticides to farmers' fertilizer and stormwater management? That means when it rains, that water runs towards my property, down towards other properties, and this happens everywhere, all the way down to Lake Ontario, Lake Erie, all the Great Lakes around here. Is that possibly part of the problem? What do you think?
Well, I think, yeah, definitely. I mean, in dogs, you know, when they have digestive problems, they do go and eat grass too at those times.
Drink pond water, drink rainwater.
And eat grass, you know, to help their digestive system. But back to the allergies, I think it's a combination of both environmental and food. You know, Mike, if I, you know, gave you chicken every single day from the day you were born.
Am I growing feathers?
Well, eventually you're gonna get an allergy towards it.
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah. Well, it's going to happen. I mean, it happens with dogs. So by rotating their diet is probably the most important thing to avoid that allergy. So the foods that we carry at Global Pet Foods, you can rotate from chicken to lamb to pork, and by rotating their diet, it will help alleviate and not get the allergies that most pets you know, can get.
So you suggest, do you tell all your stores that to tell, you know, someone like Doug to say to the pet owners out there, you should rotate your different dry foods? How about wet foods, canned food?
Same thing. Keep rotating, and by you have to have it has to be a food that has a guaranteed analysis that is identical to each protein. That you can rotate. That's why a lot of grocery brands you can't rotate, and if you do rotate the protein sources, the dogs could get diarrhea. So
we've seen that.
Yes. So we have a lot of rotational diets in our family of stores that you can do that.
See, that's logical to me, but when we think about my dog Charlie, Anna had to stick to a certain food until she could figure out what food it was that was affecting my dog. Now, I mean, the hard thing about this was watching him go through it. She did that. She did, I think, a raw fish diet.
Probably. Yep.
That was suggested by you also?
Yep, for sure. I would
okay,
have made that.
and then she went on to something else, and she, like, I know she kept bringing, you know, Charlie in to see you.
I guess the big problem is that there is no, contrary to what people will tell you, there is no definitive test for a food allergen. You know, I wish there was. You know, but there have been studies where they will take saliva swabs from dogs' mouths or blood samples, and they will send, so this is the way they do it, they will send it to 4 different allergy labs, and they will get 4, not completely different, but the one will say stay away from chicken, the one will stay away from beef, but chicken's okay. And it's really hard. And the other thing that they've done is they've sent swabs, there's water on a swab to these labs, and they'll come back with hits, you know, that they're allergic to. And so that, the only way to figure it out and then go from there, as you say, is to sort of restrict to one, figure out what you need to avoid, and then rotate around.
Okay, I mean that's good advice.
Yeah, but if you're sticking to one protein source, but then you throw them, you know, let's say a biscuit with you know, corn in it, or you throw them, you know, another piece of protein or leftover, then it's like having a peanut allergy.
Now
you have to start all over again, right? Because it'll just react.
Now
just
that
like
you say that, Anna would buy Charlie the little biscuits for his teeth, clean his teeth.
We talked about it.
So he had to stop that.
It's always the guilt. It's always like, well, have you been giving him anything else? Well, I bought these treats. They're organic and natural. I'm like, well, did you look at the ingredients? Do they have chicken in them or something like that? And sure enough, chicken, corn, something like that.
Yeah. So it could be simple as corn. Doug, when the people are coming in your store, they're asking a million questions. I'm assuming, what kind of food do I get my dog? Because do we notice it with cats too?
Yeah, oh yeah, cats, not as much as dogs,
Yeah.
but cats do have food allergens. But it all goes back to, I guess, gut health. Gut health is really where it starts. 'cause
No
that's-
different than humans.
Yeah, I mean, your whole body reacts to whatever your gut is. So if you get the gut right, it may not be food. It may not be chicken, right? So it's a tough balance. But yeah, the first question we ask is, what are you feeding? How much do you feed? Because that's another problem. Overfeeding gives them the same adverse reaction to too
I
much.
thought it gives them the shits personally.
Yeah,
Like,
too much feeding, same thing, right? Too much treats, too much, just like us. So, and then from there we try and base what they're telling us and try and put them into something that might be a little different, or obviously is going to be different than what they're doing, and then limit the ingredients.
So you were talking about gut health.
Gut health.
That's your immune system basically, and good flora is the key to having a good gut health. So, for example, kibble or dry dog food is heat processed. It's cooked. Dogs.
say that again.
It's
Eat.
heat processed.
Okay.
It's cooked. Dogs, are naturally raw meat eaters in the wild. So when you do cook the food, obviously all the vitamins and minerals are taken out of it, and raw has the natural enzymes to help break down that food and put the good flora in. So when you're feeding kibble, you have to ensure that it's a good quality kibble, that in turn they put probiotics back in, which is key, which is your live digestive enzyme.
So they still have a raw dry food?
No, just a raw. If you
Okay.
can feed raw,
Like canned?
no, raw, like
Oh,
frozen.
just raw.
Frozen raw, which we sell, like a raw diet, which is developed by an agricultural nutritionist. But that raw diet is as close as to what a dog would eat in the wild, which helps. Definitely, it's because the dog's digestive system, I believe, is 6 feet, 6 to 8 feet. Am I right?
Yeah,
Right about there. Where ours is roughly 160
longer.
feet. So we could eat heat processed food. Dogs are, that's what they eat in the wild is raw. So if you fed a raw diet, right, you can't just feed a raw diet. The raw diet has to be developed by an agricultural nutritionist, someone based on that has science in raw. So the raw diet consists of vegetables. It consists of meat. It's not just raw meat. So the foods in the raw category is the fastest growing category right now in food in North America.
That you're noticing.
In North America, it's the fastest
And why
growing
is that?
category.
I'm curious. Why?
Because dogs thrive on it. Dogs do
They
better
like it.
on it. They like it. They do better. They in turn, right now what we're seeing is the allergies are not developing on raw diets as they are on dry foods. We're seeing, dogs have a better immune system and not having the ailments that dogs that are feeding dry food. I'm not saying that dry food's not good, as long as the dry food, they do add the probiotics back in, they add the vitamin mixes back in. That will it will give it a complete diet.
So,
But
But you just can't feed raw. You can't just go to, let's just say, the butcher and buy chicken. Or,
well, that's what Anna did.
yeah, you can't do that. It's got to be derived by an agricultural
See, that makes sense to me.
nutritionist.
I
That
just
puts
thought
it-
that, Anna would go slice up some chicken.
But,
Yeah.
but wolves don't get probiotic supplements. Wolves don't get, raw vegetables, and wolves' diet isn't done. And dogs essentially, I mean, you may not believe it, but a Yorkie is essentially a small wolf. It's descended from, all same. Like you can look at their genetics, and they're very similar. And that's the great thing about
That
dogs.
tiny little yapper?
Yep, wolf ancestry.
I didn't know that.
Okay.
But when a wolf kills in the wild, the first thing they go for the intestinal. So if they do eat the vegetables, they do eat the grasses and the greens. That's why they go right for the intestinal system first.
How
and
interesting.
then they'll go for the
shoulders, the muscle.
if they still want to.
Well, you
they
get the
leave
tripe,
that
too.
usually sometimes behind. So, but they will eat some of the other carnage. But at the end of the day, it's the same way the dry food is formulated with the meat, the vegetables, and the grains. It's the same way an agricultural nutrition will do a raw. And that's what I was saying earlier. You just can't go to the butcher and buy a piece of raw meat and give it to the dog. That's not.
Then you probably were going to give him E. coli.
Or it's not complete. It's not a complete diet for them to thrive on. That's I always say build the bowl. Build the bowl to me is important. I mean, to in turn just go buy a bag of dog kibble and pour it into the bowl, and put 2 scoops in and walk away. I think that's we have to.
That's what everyone does
in the past.
It's easy.
It's easy. So that to me is a lazy way of feeding a dog, where you're not emotionally attached to that meal.
So you say build
the bowl. So we can add kibble, we can add dry, but maybe add some toppers, freeze dried, add a supplement, add some goat's milk, which is great. It's a natural anti-inflammatory. But building the bowl is fun, and you can change the proteins as long as the dry food allows you to change the protein sources, or you can even add some raw in there. So you are getting a balanced diet, but building that bowl is more nutritious for the dog than just putting 2 scoops of kibble in their bowl.
Doug, does everyone know this that comes to your store? Do they know this?
Oh, no. And going back to what Dino was saying about in the wild, when they start eating the intestines and whatnot, when they get into the stomach, the lining of the stomach, they call that the
Tripe.
tripe. I just had it last time.
Okay.
The tripe. So, and that's just full of good stuff.
That they're looking for.
Prebiotics.
Probiotics.
Yeah.
Isn't the tripe the stomach?
Yeah, this is the lining
Yes.
of the stomach.
Yeah.
It stinks, wicked, but
Because I
dogs
remember
love
on
it.
cows, you can eat that crap, and I didn't like it. I wasn't a...
Well, it's haggis, right?
It's haggis?
Haggis.
Haggis is tripe. Yeah, exactly.
But anyways, it's very
tried.
nutritional.
Not for me. Dogs maybe, but not for me.
I tried it.
Very nutritional for the dog. So they throw that into our raw mix.
Okay.
So they're getting all the pre and
But
probiotics.
here's what I'm getting. I didn't know this.
Yes.
Everyone that comes to start, they can't know this.
No, they don't.
So they're saying to you, Doug, which food do you recommend for my dog? Why does my dog have allergies? And you, like Dr. Evan here, you've got to sort of evaluate what kind of allergies. Here's what I'm going to recommend in the food, correct?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And we have to be careful because, hey, we're not a vet, and we could quite conceivably go the wrong way and really make the dog sick, right? So,
But getting back to Charlie, he went through years of hell.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, he was healthy. He was running around the property. He was in the car every day. Like I'm telling, he was one healthy dog. But then it started again. So it was like 3-4 years. Yeah. All of a sudden, it started again. It was what happened?
This is what my friend Dino is getting at. So what we found a solution that worked for Charlie, and then what happens invariably, as you feed a dog the same food, it works. But the 2 ages, and I get this argument a lot, the 2 ages that I see food allergies in dogs are young, like less than 2, and older. And so people give me this argument all the time. Oh, my dog's been on this food its whole life, the same food the whole way through. Why? And I'm like, I don't know the biochemical reason why this happens, but generally, senior dogs are my second food allergy population.
So Charlie got allergies again because Anna was feeding him the same food, thinking that was the right thing to do?
And this is where it's hard to say, because at the time, it was the right thing to do because Charlie was so sensitive and was so struggling for so long, that when we finally found something that gave him relief, we just stuck with it, because I suspect Charlie had many food allergens, and I'm sorry, Mike, I don't remember exactly what the magic bullet was.
But getting back to the point that he would drink water from the pond or rainwater, what the hell's in rainwater? Think about it.
Yep.
It can't be clean. It's not fresh. He preferred rainwater over the water in the house, and I think every dog does, every cat does.
Well, like 100 years ago,
That's all they had.
Rainwater was good, right? And I don't know what they get from it. Like, I don't know why, but you're right. They prefer rainwater, and that's often, my dog comes to me with diarrhea, usually often into a puddle. Often I get a lot of diarrhea breakouts once the snow melts, and whatever's been sitting there underneath the grass over the winter kind of fermenting. That's my theory,
How
anyways.
interesting. Well, that's that's why I wanted you here. You see the dogs come in the spring,
Yeah, a lot.
like right after winter, as soon as it starts to warm.
I get, and I don't know, maybe a carcass has also been, like been unveiled, if you will. But yeah, I do see a lot of diarrhea when we have that thaw and everything that's been sitting there. Yeah.
So Charlie died of what I think was cancer to the brain.
I wasn't managing Charlie's case at the time, but
Okay.
yeah.
To me, his head deformed. It all happened very quickly. It's like it slightly caved in at the top.
Yeah.
His jaw started to go sideways. I was filming in Vancouver, and Anna was telling me, she was calling me and telling me there was problems with Charlie. So she sent me a picture, and I looked at him, and I flew home the next day. And I looked at him, and I said, honey, we gotta put him down, right? Because she loved Charlie. That was her son.
Well aware.
I brought in the doctor in the home. The next day, Charlie was put down. I'm going to miss that guy forever. Took her a while, so I'm going to tell you the story here. All of a sudden, Charlie dies. And this cat, I swear to God, comes out of nowhere the very next day. Like Charlie died, got reincarnated to this cat. And I'll tell you, to this day, the cat started living under the cabana. And then Anna was feeding the cat and wanted to take care of the cat. And to me, I'm like, okay, I'm not a cat lover, never been a cat lover, but for Anna, it was like, okay, take care of the cat. It's getting her over Charlie, and all of a sudden she wants a cat door in my shop, and like a cat door in my shop with my tools and everything. I did it, so the cat started living in the shop. Then she wants a cat door in the house. I'm like, no, I draw the line on that. But the cat comes in the house, so the cat acts like Charlie. This is really strange shit to me. I'm not kidding. It's a great cat. I come down in the morning, it paws, just touches my leg. It's an animal. It eats it eats rabbits outside. Every chipmunk in my eats them. Like she's an animal. But in the house, she touches my leg. She wants me to pat her head, and she just sits there as I pat her head. I'm allergic to the cat. I'm losing everything right now. I'm so itchy. I'm getting red spots all over the place. I don't know what to do. I really don't know what to do. Who said it? That there's a cat food out there to help reduce allergens from cats. Who said it?
I said it before we started.
Right.
And they spent 20 years on it, because that was a barrier to people giving up their cats, or one person really liked the cat, one person was allergic. And it doesn't work for every cat, and it doesn't work for every person, but the cat eats the food, and again, because of what the food contains, it changes the flora or the dander that's on the cat's skin, and in theory, again, makes it less allergic to people, because that's what you're inhaling. Just like pollen on plants, you're inhaling their dander.
See, that's a great point. Right now, there is so much pollen on my truck and on my patio and the pool. Like, this is spring. And the pollen, we don't know what's in the air until we see it. And I've said this a million times. I can see it on my truck. I can see it on my furniture. And when I sit in my living room watching TV and that sun ray comes through the window, you see that dust. All of a sudden, you hold your breath. You ever hold your breath seeing that dust? You just hold your breath. I know it's the cat that's affecting me. I'm taking allergen pills, and they kick the shit out of me. I literally don't want to get up out of bed in the morning. I didn't realize how strong they were. I don't want to take those anymore. I don't want the cat to leave. The funny thing, Anna says to Meow Meow, poor Meow Meow. I'm like, poor Meow Meow? I'm losing
Poor
it.
Mike.
Poor Meow Meow. Anyhow, that's the story of my life with dogs and cats at this point, and I'm trying to get through this. I don't know if I should tell Anna that she can buy a cat food that can help reduce. Should I?
We don't sell it.
Okay.
We don't. It's to me. I don't know too much about the study. To me, to give a cat or ingest a cat with a food that will stop the cat from shedding or shedding the dander. I don't know. I'd have to look at the tests on that. So I have absolutely. I'd be concerned.
But I can see this becoming a thing, and it's only because I know I'm allergic to the cat.
Yeah.
And because as soon as I pat that cat, and it only happens once a day, it's in the morning while I'm having my coffee, for 5 minutes, I pat her. And then I am itchy, my ass cheeks are itchy, like I'm itchy everywhere. I purposely don't touch anything with my left hand because my coffee's in my right. I go wash my hands, but it's not enough. It's because I'm breathing in the dander, right? That's my knowledge to everything I know. Which then, Jesus, I can relate this to things that we can do to our house. We use the Whisper Air Repair. It's 4 continuous watts of power. It's Nano-X technology. It also kills the odors from animals on the carpet, the furniture, on your clothing. Like, I recommend this to everyone. Having a Panasonic ERV, I recommend, because now with my Swidget system, and I'm going to go a little bit off topic, all the switches in the wall, all the receptacles, I can put sensors in. It's very interactive. I can put cameras in, but I want the sensors. The sensors will then tell my ERV to turn on because all of a sudden the air quality in my house is poor. So it tells the ERV, automatically sends me a notification on my phone and says, poor air quality in the downstairs living room, we're turning up to 100%. So it cleans my air. So little things that I think everyone needs to know is that is it just for me, but it's for my animals. So if you have animals, when you do it for your children, we don't tend to do things for ourselves. These are things we can look into. The other points of talking about, stormwater management, runoff, and I would really assume spraying anything in your backyard to stop weeds, to stop anything, is not good for the animals. That's my assumption.
I think so, Mike. Like this, over the years, we know that, or we've learned that pesticides are not good for people and therefore not good for animals. Bottom line, full stop.
Don't use it if you have animals. But then the funny thing is do we really think about this? We have kids, and the kids roll around in the grass, and they do. So don't go one day because I've sprayed it. So for 24 hours, don't play in the grass. But 2 days later, they're rolling in the grass. So we really should be thinking, don't use that crap. I heard there's a mix of vinegar and 2 tablespoons of salt that you put in 8 ounces of vinegar, 2 tablespoons of salt, or teaspoons of salt. Put it in a spray bottle, shake it up, spray your weeds, and it'll kill your weeds. And that's not going to harm your animals. It's not going to harm the kids. So I went in another direction because I can.
and honestly, Mike, speaking of the filters, when I send patients that I can't control to a veterinary dermatologist, and yes, there are veterinary dermatologists in this world, the one thing that they stress, they use the word HEPA filter, and I don't know what that means, and I don't know but that's to get rid of the allergens in the house. They recommend get the best filter you can buy for your furnace.
Do you want to know what the best filter is?
What's the best filter?
So let's first talk about a HEPA filter. A HEPA filter at the time when they came out was supposed to be the superior filter. The thickness of it is you could take it, you could wash it, you could reuse it. Great idea. I'm not knocking a HEPA filter. Right now, when it comes to your furnace, a HEPA filter is usually on a standalone unit that will go through the lungs of your home, all your ductwork, and clean that air on top of the filter in the furnace. One of the smartest filters out there is by 3M. It's for pets, pet dander, and the reason I know this is because I've been to the factories to see all the results from the tests. And it's not just about how it filtrates the dust, the pollen, the everything else, but it's how it allows the air movement. Most filters will muffle it. So when you're doing this, you're muffling it. Yeah. And what that does is put strain on the motor of the furnace. We need that air to move in the proper CFMs, that's cubic feet per minute, with the right filter. So getting back to the filter, they tell you, change them every 3 months to 6 months. Change them every month, for Christ's sakes. Clean the air. Why is there dust on my furniture? Change them every month, once a month. How much is it? I waste money on coffee. Seriously, right? How much is it? Buy 3 filters for $25?
Minimum, at least. And you know what, I want to add a little bit to that. We talked a bit about outdoor environmental. Now we're talking about indoor environmental. I think what we're missing out here too, which a lot of people don't realize, is the cleaning products that they use in their house. that their dogs, obviously, if you use Windex on your glass, your dogs are going up to a
Their
sliding
noses
door.
against the window.
Exactly, or your toilet bowl. Dogs like to drink
Out of the bowl.
And they put that blue stuff. You shouldn't be putting any of that. Blue.
That's a really good point.
That is dangerous stuff. You're using cleaners on the floor. The dogs obviously lie on the floor. So we got to use more natural products when you're cleaning your house. I mean, unfortunately, sometimes around the kitchen counter, you got to use, because of bacteria and all that, but that's on the kitchen counter.
I'm so excited to sit and talk about this because all it's doing to me is it's making me realize it's not just one thing. It appears to be like stacking the bowl. I love the statement that you made.
Yeah, building the bowl. Build a bowl or stack.
Build
I
a
like
bowl.
stack. Stack's
Okay.
good, but building is better because
Buildable.
it's
I like
it's
that.
more fun.
Because you're putting in the foods that they should have, right? You're getting them the nutrients they need. That's building
changing the
bowl.
proteins all the way through, which is important, so don't get protein saturation. Because like I said, if I fed you chicken every day for 365 days of the year for 5 years of the dog, eventually you're going to get an allergy towards that protein.
What I'm seeing from this is that it could be what's in the grass, from rain to from farmers, the feed. There's so many things outdoors and now indoors. Cleaning your windows with Windex, cleaning your floors with a floor cleaner, and they lick the floor. They lick everything.
Or lie on the floor.
They lie on the floor. They roll on the floor.
Yeah.
So it isn't, and I think it was all, because this all happened because of my dog Charlie and you, Doug, because this was your great idea, which I loved. And I'm just saying, wow, how do we stop this? There is no real stopping it, but staying on top of it. Be aware. Clean air in the home. There are things we can do. Cleaner products, less dangerous products.
More greener.
Greener products that are good for the environment, for our kids and our animals, which we call kids. They're our kids.
And that's draining through the sewer and through the system. So if we can go with more greener, more natural products, not only will be safer for our pets, but also be safer for us.
Dino, you talked about the Windex on the glass, the floor cleaner. I mean, one thing I know about VOCs, volatile organic compounds, is even in our own perfume and men's spray, it's full of VOCs. Carpet, paint, now where I tell everyone, you buy your paint with 0 VOCs, drywall, you name it, carpet, 0 VOCs. Because the volatile organic compounds could be formaldehyde, parts per million, could be so many different things in there. And I guess someone just mentioned the sprays. You plug it in. Is it safe? They're at pet height. Is that an issue?
Well, I don't know. Like, I would imagine that it would be, because you're breathing. Their goal, the company's goal, is to fill your house with this
nice smelling home,
perfumey smell. One for every 700 square feet or something like that. And you're breathing that in. Cats are breathing that in.
And then we got other sprays that we put in the air and fix that and fluff this.
And the longer it lingers, the better, right?
Right.
We're taught or led to believe.
So, is there anything out there? Because I'm curious.
I just want to add, and we thought smoking was bad. Imagine all these other chemicals. So
I'm telling you, we're learning, and I don't think we're learning fast enough. I really don't.
Yeah.
This has brought the rise of asthma, bronchitis, all allergies, even in human beings, from the last 50 years have catapulted to high levels. Look at the companies out there making. Reactin, all those companies, they're becoming rich from people like me because I'm allergic to a cat, or I have my own allergies, and everyone else out there, I don't want to take them, but I get to the point where I have to take them. Is there anything out there, speaking of medicine, is there anything out there that can show signs of a sick animal, cat and or dog, like a cat?
Yeah, I mean, innovation, again, Global Pet Foods is a leader in innovation. We're, first to best in the market. There's a new cat litter that's going to be rolling out to our stores that will be able to detect if your cat does have diabetes.
You're kidding me.
Yeah, or if it has a urinary tract infection, or if it has feline neurological syndrome. Yep. Obviously it's not going to detect if it's oxalate or...
No.
But it's going to definitely show that there is an issue with the cat.
Would this be something that they would use all the time?
Not all the time. Once there is a problem, obviously go to your veterinarian and get it looked after. They'll obviously the veterinarian will take care of, do all the tests and really get down to where the problem is. But at least it's definitely it's gonna give you a heads up.
Anything for dogs?
Not yet.
Not yet?
I don't know if there's anything to keep the stains off the lawn, Mike.
Well, the female dog,
Yeah.
they
Well, they have the
kill the
stones.
grass.
Yeah?
They have the stones.
What do you mean?
Put on your lawn?
No, they put in the drinking water,
Okay.
and it's supposed to take the acid out of their
But you
urine.
don't sell that.
Yeah, we do.
Is that right? So a female dog you put the stones in the water, they
Yeah, there's
drink
a
the
s-
water.
there's a special rock
But
that-
is that good for the dog
Yeah.
to change the pH of the urine? Your body is supposed to produce urine of a certain acidity, and every species differs. And so now you're changing the inside of the dog by putting this, and it's not a chemical, it's like a mineral or something like that. Yeah.
How interesting. How to
we
avoid the
we
grass burning.
could do a whole new show on this because by obviously changing the pH sometimes is a good thing if the
Yep.
dog is too acidic, and versus alkaline. I mean, you want that perfect pH balance because and science has proven this that if you can keep your urine at pH balance, cancer doesn't grow, and that is proven. That's science.
Doesn't this equate to humans that
Yes,
we
it does.
need to keep our system balanced?
Balance 100%, and sometimes it's always good to actually to check your urine and check your dog or cat's urine to see if that pH is right, and obviously dogs' pH levels and cats are
Well, I know
different
when I
than
go to the
humans.
washroom, I take a look at it, right?
Yes.
Because it's got to be looking the right color. If it's really dark pee, you're probably not in good shape. Something's wrong.
Dehydrated usually.
Dehydrated,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
You want it fairly clear.
Yeah.
And then the other side of that is you want to make sure there's no blood in it.
But to make sure, you got to do a pH strip test. That's going to give you
For me?
the accurate. Yeah, everyone, even dog, cats. Yeah.
We have
All right.
Who knew, right?
Who- I didn't.
We can go into a whole nother show.
we got the pH dog strips
Yes.
and the cat, but you don't want to chase the cat around.
Yeah.
It's easier to chase the dog when he's peeing.
Oh, that's hilarious. Get behind him as he raises his leg.
Yeah.
I remember doing that with Charlie, actually.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So, as dogs get older, one of my neighbors, Joe, the boat neighbor, we got an older, you said the dog earlier, the little yapper.
Yep.
What is it?
Yorkie?
Yorkie. So they have two Yorkies. They got a new one, which is rambunctious as hell, and then the older one. The older one's going blind and deaf. So I think there's a lot of things happening, especially, Anna's bought all kinds of stuff for this cat. Like Amazon order coming in. What is that? It's a cat tree. It's a cat that. It's a cat house with a warmer. I let her do it because it makes her feel good. There's a lot of things that we can now do for our animals that I didn't even know. And here's one here. Philips lights for pets. Who would have thought of that? Lights for pets? With the dog's going blind. So Holly installed the Philips Hue light strips along the hallway and on the stairs to create a very soft glow to help her dog navigate throughout the house at night. She even put it on the Philips Hue app so that it comes on automatic at 9 at night. And stays up all night so the dog can see, like a landing strip for the plane, the dog can see where the dog needs to go. Cute little things that we're doing. I don't see anything in the building industry that comes to dogs and cats. But what I do know is that I can make a difference in your home to make it healthy for not just us, but for the animals themselves. And that's a really good point, about all the cleaning stuff. Like, what is in the hardwood cleaner you're using? How many people still use bleach? Bleach! Don't use bleach for anything. Yeah. It's worse for you than... Don't use bleach. Just don't use bleach.
It's really harmful to cats.
What happens if the dog licks the floor?
Very harmful for the cat.
Oh, man.
Bleach is
Bleach is
almost like very, very, very harmful.
fatal. Yeah.
Fatal.
I don't think people think about that. They think once I've cleaned it, it's clean. It's not sitting on the surface that my cat or dog can lick. Obviously, there's many things that we could do. Is there anything else you guys would want to talk about?
No, I think you just got to be aware that the cats groom themselves more so than dogs. And that's why, like, anything that is in the air in the house that shouldn't be there, they're going to ingest it, like repeatedly. I always say to my, I don't, like, every now and then Mike, a cat will come into me and it just reeks of cigarette smoke, like just reeks. And I'm just thinking that if I'm a cat and I'm grooming myself multiple times a day with my tongue.
The cat might as well smoke.
Pretty much.
Holy cow, I've never heard that.
Yeah. I mean, there's no studies that have been shown that, but I just feel like naturally, like to me, it just makes sense. If you're gonna smoke, and people smoke, do it outside.
Smoke outside.
Yep.
Never smoke in the house. It yellows the walls, it stinks, it's horrible.
And once it's in there, like
it's stuck, like cat pee.
Oh, don't.
I know.
Don't get me started.
Something I'm aware of because I'm a contractor and I got to clean that crap up.
Yeah, I don't know what do you use for that?
We have natural products that would have natural enzymes that will break it down.
Is that right?
It's completely all natural.
And it's a good cleaner.
It's a good cleaner. You know, the enzymes are in there that will help break down the pH that's in the urine, and yeah, you won't have a smell anymore. And it's all natural.
I didn't know that. Normally I rip the floors up, pull the carpet out, goes to the bin, down comes the drywall, and wait, it's brand new again, you know me.
Same with skunk.
Skunk.
We have products
Charlie
too.
got hit with a skunk once. That was horrible. That was really bad.
The worst thing you can do is actually
Wash
them. But it's the middle of the night, Mike. Your dog's just got skunked. It reeks, and you grab your dish soap or whatever, and that actually makes it harder for the next product to work.
So in the springtime, we actually get a big skunk and put a full display of skunk off, and say be prepared, because it's not a matter of if, it's
skunk
a matter
off.
of when. Skunk off, yeah, exactly.
Holy cow!
But you got to get.
Will that work for humans?
You got to get a stuffed skunk that catches their attention. They go, oh yeah, I need just keep one of these for backup, just in case.
Skunk off. I'll remember that.
Yeah.
I think we used tomato juice because it was an old fairy tale.
Yeah, perhaps. Yeah.
Old wives' tale. Yeah.
Doug, is there anything you want to say to your clients that come to you?
Yeah, we're global. We're here to help whenever they have their questions, their issues. My staff is well trained and continually training on different avenues. Everyone has their strengths in the store, so for as far with food allergies, you name it, stress. That seems to be a big thing these days with firecrackers and
stress. I'm hearing that too.
Gunshots, and their parents are away all day. They were in the house all day, but now they're gone.
Yeah.
So,
someone told me I think it was yesterday, their dog has got the runs like crazy. Mom was gone to another country for 6 weeks. I say mom, the wife.
Yep.
But the dog was stressed. Took him to the doctor, like you, Dr. Evan. The dog is stressed.
Yep.
Really?
Stress diarrhea.
Really?
just like you.
I get it.
I don't have that issue. You put a little garlic in me, I got an issue. Dr. Evan, is there anything that people out there, how can they learn shit? Stop.
What I would say is just do your research, and ask both the pet food stores and the vet, what is the best food for my dog? And the one thing that Dino touched on is make sure your food, the company that makes it, has a nutritionist on board, to make sure that food is balanced, and if you are home cooking or whatever, there are services that will design a meal for your dog that is complete and balanced and does not have over whatever, too much calcium, too little magnesium, etc. So I think that's the well-balanced meal. And that's why there are pet food companies that use nutritionists and there are pet food companies that don't. And I think that it's really important to make sure that the food you're feeding has a nutritionist on board.
Dino.
Yeah, listen, every brand we bring into our family of stores, there is a nutritionist. We're very conscientious of what foods we bring in. We do our research. Global Pet Food has been around for 46 years.
That's a long time.
It's a long time, since 1976. In the next 3 to 4 years, 2026, we will be 50 years in business. So We really do our research with every brand we bring in. We're the leader in innovation when it comes to pet food in not only Canada, but I would say North America.
Is there a website they can go to get
Yes,
more information?
www.globalpetfoods.com.
Okay,
is the
globalpetfoods.com.
website. Yeah, go in there and you can see all our products. And but rest assured that we have definitely done the research to ensure that every brand we bring in is safe, and there is a nutritionist for every brand that we do bring in.
Guys, thank you so much for coming in today. I know you're busy, Dr. Evan. You got to get back to the clinic and take care of all the dogs and cats that are having allergies. It has grown, hasn't it?
I wish I could give you a definitive reason why, but as you said at the beginning, the incidence of allergies in dogs from now to 50, 60 years ago is increasing, and they don't teach you that in school. You know that, like, I don't know, 50% of the cases you will see will either be skin or gut. And
but what I'm hearing is just from this conversation, there's a bunch of possible reasons.
Yep.
And we're probably self-inflicting a lot of them and don't realize it.
Yep.
Thank you for coming here. Doug Poyntz, thank you, sir.
Thank you,
Dino.
sir.
Very good.
Great, thanks.
And thank you. We'll see you on the next Homes on Homes podcast. This episode is brought to you by Improve Canada, Canada's largest home improvement center. Check out improvecanada.com. If you like the show, check out the episode page on makeitright.ca for more tips.